Do you love a card with a little extra surprise? Today's cards are for you. Look at this fun little interior pop-up I have, and guys, these cards couldn't be any easier.
Hello, everybody. I'm Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'm so thrilled you're joining me today for these amazing little surprise cards, a little surprise inside. All right, I am super excited to get started with this project. So let's head over to my stamping table and I'll show you the cards for today.
We are going to start with this one here. I'm working with designer series paper today because it really does make for some easy cards. Again, the little pop-up, super easy. I'm going to walk you through everything. As always, I've got a free download that goes along with my video today, so don't worry about writing down any measurements or supplies. I've got it all right here for you. You're going to have the photos, measurements, everything you need. In fact, if you need to come back and watch the video again, you can click or scan the QR to come back. And if you're here in the United States, guys, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and you can just click this picture right here. It'll take you right to my online store. You can order any of the supplies. Can we just talk about this little tiny supply list? Yep, it does not take much to create the cards. I'm going to begin with a card base in Garden Green, and that's your classic 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. Now my pop-up for the inside is a 3 by 8.5, and I did some simple scoring. So with the 8.5 inches at the top of your Simply Scored board or your paper trimmer using your scoring blade, you can score at 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's easy enough, right? While I've got this here, I'm going to go ahead and crease all of my score lines, and you want to kind of crease them all in because you can see that's just going to kind of roll up and create our little pop-up for the inside. So while we have this here, I'm just going to fold that in half there. I'm going to add adhesive. You want to get a little heavy with adhesive because we want to make sure that holds. I'm going to fold that. Can you see how that's just going to create that simple little box? I'm going to bring my card in, and if you'll fold this flat, all right, just like that, you know how you're going to know it's the right size? Because it's going to fit perfectly in the card. So it's going to be 5.5 inches long. I'm going to put adhesive here on the top section. That's important. We're going to center it up here on the left side of the card. So you can see you're just going to center it up from side to side. And of course, it's going to fit perfect from top to bottom. Give that a press. Boom. That is our pop-up. That is so easy. You know what, since I've got my card open, I also have 2 pieces of Night of Navy cardstock. And friends, these are 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to add one here to the inside of our card. We're going to add another one here to the front of our card. And I also have a piece of Night of Navy that is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to add that to the pop-up panel. So I'm going to add that there. One more little piece. I have a little piece. This is just a little scrap of some Night of Navy. And it is 3 inches by 3 1/4. I'm going to add that right up here at the top. It just kind of gives a little extra decor right there. Let's do a little stamping. I have the Grateful Blessings stamp set and a Night of Navy ink pad. And I have 2 pieces of basic white, a 2.5 by 4, and this is 4 inches by 3/4 inch. So I'm going to take the You're Such a Blessing, and I'm simply going to stamp that right up here at the top of the one piece of basic white. Now we're going to say, I'm grateful for you. And when you stamp this, if you'll stamp it kind of all the way over to the right side, we're going to be adding a bow right there. Now let's work with that designer series paper. So this is from Mediterranean Blooms. I've got several pieces. What was great about this card is I really was able to just kind of use some of my, I don't want to necessarily say scraps, but as I was cutting it, I instantly had pieces that were just the right size to use elsewhere on the card. So I'm going to adhere that to my basic white down there at the bottom. And I've got my multi-purpose glue, and I'm just going to add a little dab of glue right here. And I have this little scrap of some basic white. It's 1/8 of an inch, but I don't know. It's kind of a thing with me. I always like my designer series paper. I never like it floating in the air. I always like it to have just that little buffer in between. I will snip off the edges. And that is ready to be added here to the inside of my card. I also have another little strip here. This is 3 inches by 1/2 inch. And I'm going to add that to the top of my little surprise pop out. This is for my message. This is a 3 3/4 by 5. We're going to add that there. And I have another little strip of the designer series paper. And this will be a 3/4 by 5. I'm going to let just a little bit of that white kind of peek out there. Now let's work on the front. So I have another piece of designer series paper, 3 3/4 by 5. I just love it with that Night of Navy and Garden Green. It's just a gorgeous combination. I have layered my greeting here on another piece of Night of Navy. I really did, boy. I got into my scraps today. So that's a 1 inch by 4 inches. I'm going to add that here to the front of my card. And because I wanted to add just a little extra something, I've got my mini glue dots in a Night of Navy and gold glittered ribbon. I love this ribbon. Of course, I love anything with bling. And I'm going to add that. Remember how we stamped our sentiment and we moved it over to the right side? Yep, we're going to add that little bow right there. Friends, look at that. Isn't that going to be a fun card? Someone's going to love to display that one. And what a better sentiment. You're such a blessing, and you can tell them exactly why right there. All right, I've got a second card to share with you, and that is this one here. Oh my goodness. We're going to let designer series paper just take care of everything for us. Just a little bit of stamping.
Don't forget about the free download that I have for you that goes along with today's video. Guys, this has everything you need so you can recreate these surprise cards. You're going to have pictures, the measurements, the supply list, everything that you need, and it is free to you over at simplysimplestamping.com. Or if you look down in the YouTube description, I have a direct link to today's post.
This is using the Thoughtful Journey designer series paper. This has been I think this has got to be Stampin' Up's most popular paper ever. We're just loving these designer series papers that have scenes on them. Now this is a 6 by 6 and I've just chopped it up. All right, so I'm going to piece my designer series paper back together so you can kind of see how I did this. I started with that 6 by 6 and off of the sky, I cut it down to 5 inches. All right, so I cut 1 inch off there at the top. So it's now 5 by 6. So after I did that, I did some simple cutting. I've got a strip here. This is 5 inches and I cut it to 3/4 of an inch. Then I have a 2.5 inches by 5 inches. And then this one I trimmed down again off of the top. And this is now a 2.5 by 4. All right, let's put this card together. So again, fresh freesia, same measurements, that 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. Remember this piece? This was the 3 by 8.5 and it was scored at 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and 4 inch. And we will crease the edges here. I'm going to put adhesive down the one panel. Remember, just fold that in half, fold it over, and you're set. You know you're good to go. Now I am going to change things up. Before I add this one, I'm going to do some stamping because I need to do a little stamping here on the side and I don't want that bulk inside my card as I do this. So I'm going to come back in with my Night of Navy ink pad, and this time for my stamp set, I'm going to use the So Sincere. I loved this vertical happy birthday. It was perfect. And then we're going to use the Hope Your Day is a Happy one. So let's go ahead and stamp our happy birthday right there on the end. We're now going to add our adhesive. Remember, that goes right up there at the top and you can easily see as long as it fits in the card, you're good to go. We'll flip this over, center it up from side to side, and the pop-up is now ready to go. I have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 Night of Navy that will go right here on the right side. I have a piece of basic white, 3 3/4 by 5. This is for our message. We're going to add that here. And just like we did in the other card, we have that little strip of the designer series paper, that 3/4 of an inch. And I just think, you know, we've got the paper, we're going to use it. And I just love how that ties in all the theme of this beautiful paper, just ties in all throughout my card. Let's do one more little bit of stamping here on the inside. And as I said before, it's going to be a hope your day is a happy one. We're now ready to add another piece of Night of Navy right here in our pop-up, and that 2.5 by 4 inches of the designer series paper. Again, keeping that theme going there. I have a piece of Night of Navy that is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to adhere our other piece of designer series paper right on top. And I wanted to bring in that glittered ribbon again. Let me show you what I did. I kind of cut off a piece and I tied a knot in the middle. You know, a lot of times I do bows, but I thought, you know what, I kind of liked, what do you guys think? I just think that looks really cool to just kind of have that knot there. So I'm going to add adhesive right there and hold that in place. Do that again here on the other side. Hold that in place. All right, now to add this to our card, let's add adhesive here, and watch this. We're going to go right back over that ribbon just to make sure it'll be good and secure. Can you believe how fast that card goes together? We love it. And that paper kind of does all the work for us. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful card. So let me bring in my first one. Guys, using your designer series paper makes creating these cards so fast. But I want you to think beyond that. This could be any focal image you want on the front of your card, right? Anything. If you've seen a card here you've loved on Simply Simple Stamping, why not use it? And just create that pop-up for the inside and do something really fun. You could add dies, you could add all kinds of fun things to these. So I hope you'll give these incredible cards a try.
I hope that you enjoyed the card today. I love that little pop-up, and I hope you did too. Hey, if you like the video, I would love a thumbs up on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. And if you haven't subscribed, take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell. YouTube will let you know whenever I'm back with another video, and we'd love to have you join in on the fun. Make it a great day, everybody. I can't wait to stamp with you next time. Bye-bye.